Hey guys, Lex here, back for some more of the Great Ace Attorney. Last time, we finished the Beat's testimony, and see where this trial takes us next. Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that? Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here, principally that of the accused. Mr. Soseki Natsume is the only person who could have possibly committed this crime.
Objection!
No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there's someone else. Another person who could become responsible for the knife in the victim's back. Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of the possibility already. Lord Van Zakes, is this true? Very well. Name the person, if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing. You'll name the other person who could have perpetrated the crime.
Take that!
The defense would like again to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord. Once again. My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative that we cross-examine the juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garrideb. Me? Oh dear me.
Objection!
That request has already been denied.
Objection!
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garrideb, answer me this. What do you want now, you little toad? At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garrideb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks over Briar Road. Well, what of it? You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the top hinge casement window, the book plummeted directly down, finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident. Yes, and I said, what of it? During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garrideb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before? I don't recall it. Seriously? Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, that man over there and all that regalia said members of the jury needn't testify, didn't he? Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
No, I have no recollection of saying that at all. Juror number 4. Oh! Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something of this knife, madam, let the truth come out. But that's just a common garden knife. Could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know? What's that? Are you joking? Order said, please, Miss Garrideb. Now you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injure someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it. Oh, the poor woman. So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife, if that's what you think. Come along now, chop chop. Do your worst. Oh, well... Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, If I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already. Then take the stand, juror. Oh. Prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Van Zakes. I'm going to have to testify. Juror number 4. As I'm sure you will appreciate, having observed it with your own eyes today. Witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed, truths of which the witnesses themselves they may not even have been aware. Oh dearie me. So I must demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garrideb, and mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels? Certainly, my lord. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. I'm here in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. Damn, he looks like Phoenix from this angle. Witness, state your name and occupation. Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garrideb. And I'm a juror, and such like. Sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife, or a maid, or what anymore. The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam? Yes, my lord. You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth. Oh dearie me. Shut up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now. Oh, I didn't know you were here, John. Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? Rather, think I ought to testify as well, don't you? What about your knee, my dear? Don't worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone. Oh, John. I presume you are Mr. John Garrideb. Yes, sir. Former 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, sir. Seen my fair share of action and now living the quiet life as it were. The quiet life? Were you not engaged in incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Well, yes, quite. I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and precisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once. The Battle of Garrideb. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked the candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out though, and got the window open. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him. Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I'd notice if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. If that bally thing in the victim's back really was one of ours, you'll have a job proving it, I think. It sounds as though it was quite a battlefield in your household that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had been shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself, is only too aware that on every battlefield, you're just a gnat's wit scare from death at any moment. Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here? Well, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife. In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end. Van Zieks may well be right. Well, whatever the chances. You only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruto. Yes, I'm afraid so. Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination. Last cross-examination. The Battle of Garrideb.
Hold it!
The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe. Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garrideb. A rather passionate note, in fact. But Mrs. Garrideb found the note discovering her husband's little secret. And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too. What sordid state of affairs? Hell on earth. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, what half of it was wide of the mark, anyway. A likely story. These waters run very deep. And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
Hold it!
And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, didn't it? The bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happens there was some bath water around that evening, so I slashed that about to put it out. A most precarious situation you put yourself in. Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street, where the water main isn't connected yet. Have to draw the water from a public water pump during the day if you need any, as you say. The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although, that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe. Defendant Mr. Natsume. Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off. Have you actually seen the state of the man? I believe he uses all of his income to buy books. Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough.
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire? As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw. That is most certainly not true of a societal takedown, Mr. Naruto. How did she know I was thinking of that? Same. So please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was the knife among the items you threw at your husband that day? No, honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see, some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, and a sponge, and a napkin. Napkin?
Excuse me!
Do you have something to add, sir? Oh. Mr. Garrideb. Don't shoot. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Did your wife's remark just bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just that barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction. Somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker I seem to recall. Ouch. And that woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every ball. Oh my god, good grief, woman. We're not at home now. This is a court of law. Oh dear me, I'm so sorry, dear. What's she doing with a teapot in here? Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously. Well, take a look at this then. How do you suppose that happened, Your pipe, sir. Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean off with one of her soft projectiles, she did, yes. And now when I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. Let's see, your pipe was broken. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now. Oh, you are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? I wonder what we should make of this account. Could be important. Friends believe Mr. Garrideb's remarks just now to be of great significance.
Objection!
This wall of Etern's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and pipes, as well as hearts, may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony. Indeed, common sense, one might say. Might one? In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? Well, I don't see why not. Oh, dear me. There you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady. Very well. The court will now accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence. Okay. I almost said no. I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruto. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down. Oh no, it's fine. Thanks to Sato-san, we have some new evidence to work with. You should examine it carefully. Well, thank you for that rebuttal, Mr. Garrideb. Now, if we could return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim? Okay, let's take a look at this. Oh! Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there. Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there, I think. Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this? A tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of the blade or something. Oh. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade? Sure, couldn't be. Damn. Got him! Yeah, you got this. Take that! Mr. Garrideb, could I ask you to take a good look at this, please? You can't ask, but I can't see a bally thing. You can't? Used to call me Dead-Eyed Deb back in the regiment, of course, but that was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days, I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest. Say, oh, he does, dearie me. It's rather worrying being asked about every other letter and every other word. You must be very dizzy. No, that hurts. That hurts. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal. Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear to at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. Where did the defense come by this evidence? It was lodged inside the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe, and I'm always scared to break the tips of my knives. My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got there. And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that this is in some way related to the matter of the stabbing in Briar Road? I am. What? When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord. He's burnt in the box. You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of this entire case?
Take that!
This is the knife that was already found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you will see that there is a small piece of the tip of the blade that is missing. A common issue with inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones. And what of this particular knife? No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, and now languishes somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection!
No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe. Oh. Good grief, Lord Van Zieks. I don't believe it. The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good golly gosh. Order. Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery? This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle. A miracle? So Van Zieks has figured it out, has he? Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once. Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is, when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe? Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony. Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did, yes. It would have never been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Oh, dear me. During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garrideb flung the knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrideb, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time, which caused the tip to break off, of course. Good lord. Yes, and that is when a tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe. The chances are of that of 1,000,000 to 1. And yet, there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out the open window. In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Garrideb's house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below. Oh gosh, oh dear, oh. No!
Objection!
What? A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling his argument. Sorry? But after all, it's just a theory, a game theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see, it's spoiled by insurmountable inconsistency. and insurmountable. What? Lord Van Zanks, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified? An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with the knife planted in the middle of her back. Yes, in her... Oh. That's right, you little man. Now, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about? Let us consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling on the ground. If the knife that struck had fallen from above, there's no possible way it would have planted itself onto the victim's back. Yeah, I was wondering that too. Did she fall beforehand? Order. Quite right, you see. That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above, it would have struck her on the top of her head. Well, He's lost for words, look. I knew it. I'd never liked his theory in the first place. I don't know, though. It really did happen. It would appear the defense has made a rather spectacular blunder. If a theory has even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my little friend, is history. We're so close. I could see the truth. I'm so sure we were on the right track. But now, the way has been blocked completely by just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency and the theory will stand. Mrs. Sato. You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruto. You were just caught off guard, that's all, and your mind went blank. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key to this is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there. Huh? It seems you have nothing to say, my Nippode's friend. Well, your silence speaks in volumes. A tacit acceptance to your theory is fatally flawed. Objection! Got him. I think this inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Will I bring out my sword? Yes. If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying? Counsel? There's a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer. Goodness. Utter madness. Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak. This is the last inconsistency, the final piece of the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. The evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is going to be in the next episode, because I'll end it here, and next time we should finish the trial. Thanks for watching. See ya.